The Parramatta St George game from last week, this was a sensational game to televise. It had drama, uncertainty. The only thing was, in my view, that the better football team on the day won. 5 of the 6 Parramatta tries came as a result of splendid teamwork. All the 5 Saints tries, valuable as they were virtually solo individual efforts. I was amazed at the St George's fierce and uncaring attitude at the start of the game. Roy Masters claims that they're not sent out to be violent. If that's the case, I know of no other team in rugby league which gives the appearance of trying to create mayhem when they first go out. Perhaps these players supersede his instructions on the field, I don't know, but 16 cautions were administered by the referee, Roberts, on the day, 14 against St George players, 4 against Parramatta. Now, if St George did one thing in the match, they exposed the fact that Parramatta, as great a team as they are not unbeatable. Their defence, and they are the best defenders in the league, having conceded only 27 tries in 17 rounds, that's about 1.5 tries a match, is not as secure as they would like to think. I believe that the referee, Roberts, handled a difficult game well, but I would have applauded the use of the sin bin in the opening 15 minutes for a couple of very stupid acts that were done. But I'm a bit sorry for Roberts that he got himself into that hot water over the jumper issue. I'd be far simpler, and Cole Pearce, I'd like a comment, in future for referees to have several coloured jerseys with them to obviate the problem of similarity. Yes or no?
Well, I don't think it happened in Montgomery. I suppose it's up to the Parramatta team. They play in blue in the first half. Why haven't we got a set of jerseys in the second half the same? They can change their games.
Well, they've been castigated this week officially for not having an additional set of jerseys the same colour.
Well, that's right. I think that's the
But wouldn't it be simpler for a referee to have another coloured jersey?
A neutral. I put forward a suggestion to Collie outside that in America they have a reverse of their strip. For example, there's St George would have a red with white piping, and Parramatta obviously got yellow with blue piping as a reverse of their colour. Now, the ref and the linesman on that day should take the colour that won't clash with any of the reverses, or in other words, green. On that day they should have green for the referee. So it doesn't matter whether St George run out with white and red, or red and white, or blue and yellow, yellow and blue. Green's the strip for the ref.
But St George's, Parramatta's other jumpers, the original jumpers were different colour, different
blue, so the referee had a goal goes.
Yeah.
Well, I just found it very hard to believe that there was any contrived plan to use the referee as a decoy has been claimed. This is all after the match talk, in my opinion. For Parramatta, Steve Sharp was in the front row. Of course, he excelled. He was Parramatta's most valuable player on the day. He got my award. I've never seen him play so well before. In Price, he and the Eels have got 2 immense grafters. They get through a huge amount of work and tackling. Kenny and Ella were great, as was Paul Taylor. Wynn and Edge were not far behind. For Saints, Walsh, Cannon, Morris, Young and Quinn all did well. And just a little bit of a footnote for Roy Masters. Graham Wynn has got a very obvious fault in his goal-kicking style. I know he scored 89 points, 5 tries and 37 goals this year, but he will do better, I think, if somebody straightens out his technique. I have that on the authority of one of the greatest goal kickers going around, no names, no pectoral. 2 from only 6 on the weekend was not good enough. Pardon me, I'll just have to have a mouthful of this. Anyway, out of the game we got some interesting highlights. Just let's have a look at a few of the things here. Price, Win and Muggleton tackle on Quinn, and this is the sort of venom or the power of the tackling that was on the day. That's a very good example of it. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a football field. Graham Wynn looks to me like a giant St Bernard dog, bounding around with pleasure here as we roll it. Now watch him as the try scored by Walsh. Bound, number 8, bound, straight onto Roberts' foot. Roberts says, get off. What are you doing? And a little side light that sort of relieved the pressure. An excellent tackle by Ray Price head on Jarvis there. Knocked him backwards. Those are the sorts of things that make him the player he is. I've got an interview with Paul Taylor. Frankly, I've got to admit to not knowing a great deal about Paul Taylor. So we had a little bit of a chat to him, and I asked him how he comes up always being Johnny on the spot, because he scores a fair few tries.
Now as a sort of break maker sort of thing, so I trial the men who can make breaks.
And you're quite happy to go on with this fullback, Luke. There's no problem with the Bombers. You take those well enough?
Oh, I had a problem today with it, but now I'm handling more on.
Oh, everyone, except Brentnell, everyone seems to drop 1 or 2 from time to time.
Yeah.
But has he had any influence on you watching him play on television or when you're up against him?
Oh, not really. Once a ball goes in the air, all you do is concentrate on the ball.
But his leaping to catch the ball was something that other fullbacks didn't do.
Oh, true. It's coming into the game now, and it has a big aspect on it.
Yeah. How many tries have you scored now as a fullback?
5.
5. That's not bad going, is it?
It's when you've got good men in the side, it's much easier.
Well, you've just made a point. Do you want to just elaborate?
Well,
about the jerseys?
Well, I will if you want me to. I believe that that's an advantage to St George. That if a referee stands in the defence line in a yellow jumper, the defenders look along and say, yeah, that's right, sweet, there's a yellow jumper alongside me. St George should have been using that as an advantage. So how could it advantage
run at the referee?
Parramatta? Run at the referee.
Fair enough. Okay, after the game, we had a yarn with Roy Masters about the confusion over the referee's jumper. He was fairly, well, shall we say, vitriolic about it, and came on very strong, as he always does. This is Roy.
Realise what happened with the referee wearing Parramatta changed their jumpers at half-time from blue to gold, and the referee who was refereeing in the first half with a gold jumper continued to wear it in the second half. Our defence was totally confused in that second half. They didn't know whether the Roberts was a referee or a Parramatta player.
I wasn't aware of the problem.
No, I think you'll find that it's going to be a very contentious issue within the next 3 or 4 days. Referee Roberts should have instructed the Parramatta players to change their jumpers back to blue at half-time, or alternatively go and get a red or a green.
Well, simpler thing would have been for him to change.
Yeah, of course, but he may not have had one.
You're suggesting then that some of your players hung off because...
They did. They were totally confused. Actually, he was very lucky he wasn't tackled by one of the St George
Well, that
blokes.
would have been different. I'm being flippant, but you're deadly earnest about this.
Most certainly deadly earnest about it. I believe the 2 of their tries, the early and the second half, were caused through a total confusion in our defensive ranks, largely caused by the fact that they thought he was a Parramatta defender.
Such is the importance of winning in rugby league. I think sometimes, might I say, and Roy Masters, I hope, is a friend of mine, I think coaches grasp at straws.